Friends, gather round. Tonight we're diving into the political arena, a place more dramatic than a cage fight between a honey badger and a bear riding a unicycle. Senator Cory Booker, known for his charisma and eloquence, took to the Senate floor in a fiery, impassioned speech that echoed through the halls of Congress. Booker, a man who rose from humble beginnings to become the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and later a United States senator, has always been a voice for the voiceless. Booker's marathon speech, lasting well into the night, was a direct response to the policies of President Trump. He spoke with the fire of 1,000 suns, his words fueled by a deep concern for the direction of the nation. This wasn't just a speech, it was a declaration of war against an agenda that Booker believed was tearing the country apart. But Booker wasn't just a warrior that night, he was a storyteller. He wove a narrative of American ideals, of unity, and of shared responsibility, contrasting it with the stark reality of the Trump administration's policies. He reminded the chamber, and indeed the nation, that America is at its best when it embraces its diversity and uplifts its most vulnerable citizens. Hold on to your monocles, folks, because Booker didn't pull any punches. He went straight for the jugular of Trump's policies, calling out the proposed cuts to social programs with the ferocity of a mama bear protecting her cubs. These cuts, Booker argued, would disproportionately impact the most vulnerable Americans, the elderly, the poor, the sick, while simultaneously lining the pockets of the wealthy. And then came the tax cuts, a move that Booker likened to giving a billionaire a golden toilet while taking away health care from millions. He argued that these tax cuts, far from stimulating the economy, would only serve to further exacerbate income inequality and balloon the national debt. It was a classic case of Robin Hood in reverse, and Booker wasn't having any of it. But Booker's concerns extended far beyond domestic policy. He also launched a scathing critique of Trump's foreign policy, particularly his cozy relationship with certain dictators and his disregard for international diplomacy. He argued that these actions were damaging America's reputation on the world stage and making the country less safe. Now, Booker's no slouch when it comes to history. He's a man who knows his Lincoln from his LBJ. And in this speech, he channeled the spirits of American heroes past, invoking the words of Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy, and even the founding fathers themselves. He reminded the Senate and the nation that America has always been a work in progress, a nation striving towards a more perfect union. He spoke of the civil rights movement, of the women's suffrage movement, of the countless struggles for equality that have shaped the American story. He reminded his colleagues that progress is never inevitable, that it requires constant vigilance and a willingness to fight for what is right. Booker's words were a call to action, a plea for his colleagues to remember their oaths to the Constitution and to stand up for the principles upon which this nation was founded. He implored them to choose unity over division, compassion over cruelty, and justice over injustice. Now, did Booker's speech single-handedly change the course of American politics? Did it magically erase the political divide or reverse the tide of Trump's agenda? Well, this isn't a Disney movie, folks. Political change is a slow and arduous process. But what Booker's speech did do was spark a conversation. It reminded people that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, there is always hope. It reminded them that the American spirit, the spirit of resistance, of resilience, of fighting for what's right, is still alive and well. Booker's speech was a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, a single voice can make a difference. It was a beacon of hope in a time of uncertainty, a call to action for a nation in need of direction. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, it planted a seed that will one day blossom into a more just and equitable future.